For Newstead VR, we're starting off with finding some codes, and we are going to write this down. We have 6 at the end of 2 words. We also have that, but then 6 is at the end of 2 at the start of 1, but then T is at the end of 2, start of 1. But the 6 is also, let's see, 4 is at the beginning, at the end, also second, which means T has to be second. So that's going to be star, and then we can see here star is that. So we have setter, which means we're going to have double 4 in the middle, cross this out, cross this out, cross this out. We end up getting C. Then for seats, we also have seats. So it's going to start with a 1. Cross these out, cross this out. Next one is going to be an E. So if this one's star, that means we're going to have a 5. It's going to be A, R again. So this one's going to be tier, which means a 7 is going to be E, which means it's going to be 1, 7. Okay, then we have A, which is going to be 5, 1, 7, 5, which is going to be A. Question number 3 is going to be 6, 7. So 6, that's tier, that's R at the beginning. Then we have 7, which is E, so it's going to be R-E, S, and then, so we're looking for the 4th letter, 1, 2, 3, 4, because that's a different consonant. 7 is also going to be another E, which means it's going to be reset. Next one, we have which one is in common. We have 1 at the start, 1 at the end. We have T at the start, T at the end, which means this one would be T. And that one, that means has to be coat, which means this one is going to be tame, which means we've got quite a few letters there already. Team is going to be 1 something. T 1, 6, 2, 1, 6, 2 looks like this. Question number 5, COM. We're going to have 4, 3. Come across all of these out. M is going to be 5, so 4 through 5. 5 is A, and then 5, 2, 1, 6 is going to be M, A, so M, A. All of these cross out apart from this. Question 7. The word over here is going to be, over here, oval elongated, because we can see vale over here, which can mean valley. So, question number 8, we have jaws opened. That word is sope. Sope is a type of food dish. If you look it up, it's going to be D. Question number 9, we have the ancient Egyptians made linen garments. The word should be made linen. We have the word Delhi. Question number 10, Albion is a wonderful mystical land. We have mystical land, which is going to be cool. Question number 11, we have our abolishing, which is going to be area. Question number 12, there's markings from there before. The diamond was a beautiful lilac. That's going to be over here. Beautiful lilac, because then we get the word full. Question 13, we get the word, when we put H, we get bath, hut, push, air. It's going to be D. Question number 14, we're going to put O. We get solo, oath, halo, out. Question number 15, we're going to get F, leaf, face, roof, find. Question number 16, we're going to get E, N, which is going to be plan, nest, sown, none. So sown, you reap what you've sown, so you sow some seeds. Question number 17, we are going to get K, which is going to be think, kite, rank, kilt. Question number 18, we're going to get B, which is D, which is going to be feed, date, loud, dish. Question number 19. L to M is going to be +1. Then we get A to B is going to be +1. R to S is going to be +1. We can see that we +1 for all of them. S +1 is T. Cross out these. M +1 is going to be N. So we can cross out these. We just get A. Question number 20. S to U is going to be +2. And then E to D is going to be -1. C to E is going to be +2. And then O to N is going to be -1. We've got a pattern. So O +2 is going to be Q. Oh, because we're going from code to word, we need to -2, which is going to be M. And then H is going to be +1, which is going to be I. Cross this one out. P is going to be -2, which is N. And then T is going to be +1, which is U. And then V is going to be -2, which is going to be T. We get 20B. 21. G to F is +-1. R to F's is going to be +1. Oh, so -1, +1. E to D is going to be -1. +1, -1. E to F is going to be +1. So we start off with -1. B -1 is going to be A. After that, we +1. R +1 is going to be S. Then O -1 is going to be N. So we have +1, -1, +1, -1. W -1 is going to be V. W -1. Actually, we start off with -1, so it's going to be -1, +1, -1, +1. W plus X is going, +1 is going to be X. We get B. Question number 22. We have L to O, which is going to be +3. And then A to Z, and we know it's going to be +-1. Z to A is going to be +1. And then Y to B is going to be +3. So +3, +1, +1, +3. N +3 is going to be Q. Oh, we have to -3. N -3, 1, 2, 3 is going to be A minus N minus E, we're just going to do question number 23 first. N -3 is going to be 1, 2, 3, which is, or N +3. 1, 2, 3 is going to be Q. Then we have +1. E +1 is going to be F. Well, that's E. Oh, A to Z was -1. So E -1. A to Z was -1. We need to do E -1, which is going to be D, Q, D. And then we had Z to A, which was +1, which is going to be A +1, which is going to be B, which means that 23D is the answer. For 74, we have, let's go back to 22. T to S is going to be -1. A -1 will be Z. Oh, we have to add 1 because we're going from code. Add 1 is going to be B. That's all of them. O to M is going to be -2, so we have to add 2. J add 2 is going to be L. And then A to X is going to be -3, so we have to do A +3, or X +3, which is going to be A, BLA. We end up with getting 22C. P to Q is going to be, P to Q is going to be +1. P to Q is going to be +1. So then R to +1 is going to be S, and then V to U is -1. So M -1 is going to be L. cross this one out, and then C to E is plus 2. So then we have C to E is going to be E. And then we have W to U is going to be minus 2. We have G minus 2 equals E again. And then the last one, B to E, is going to be plus 3. We have M plus 3, which is going to be P. Sleep is our answer. 25, we can change the word T to get sock and taxis. 26, we can change A, we can change P, we can change A, which is the letter S, to be port and yaks. Question number 27, we can change H to be eating and wash. Question 28, we can change A to be team and pills. Question 29, we can change this to be sack and town. Question 30, we can change this to be gown, and if you change the R, you can change it to be beret. Question 11, we simply have to add them together to get 29. Question number 32, we can see divide them, get that, divide them, get that. 36 divided by 3 is going to be 12. 32 gives us A. 33, each time it's going to be the midway point. So when you subtract this, it's going to be 22, half that to get the midpoint. It's going to be 11. 17 and 11 is going to be 28. And then 28 to 39 is another 11. Same way, we add them together, or you find the difference, you get 12, and then you half that, you get 6. 18 plus 6 is going to be 24. That's the halfway point. And then 34 is you multiply them to get 44, and then minus 2 to get 42. 6 times 3 is 18, minus 2 is 16, 5 times 6 is 30, minus 2 is 28. Question 35, we have times together. We have to add them. Would you get 11? Multiply that by 2. We get 22. Add them. 14 times 2 is 28. Add them is 18. Multiply that by 2, and we get 36. Question 36. We have 6 and 9. Add that, and then 14 and 8. Add the one before. So it looks like we add them 15, then add the number before this one. Plus 6 is going to be 21. Add them, we get 22. Add the number before. Add them, we get 26. Add the number before, which is 5, we get 31. So 36 is B. And then question number 37. We get, there are 2 pairs of words. They will go equally well with both of the pairs. Only one of the 5 possible answers. So question 37, we have rush, hurry, energize, refill. Can't really be race, that doesn't mean to energize, refill. Charge works the best here. Question number 38, tip and show direct. We have, if we have the point of a triangle, it's going to be point, and you can always point someone's direction. Question number 40, difficult, hard, firm, solid. So hard is going to be the answer. Everything else doesn't really mean, it's not as apt, because something can be tough if it's awkward. However, it doesn't really fit as well as hard, because hard fits these ones better. Like, it's just more of a, so hard is more applicable to more instances. Tough is quite specific to some instances. For example, a muscle is tough or meat is tough, but hard, when you think of something that's hard, your mind naturally goes to the word that something is hard, which also applies to the first set of words. 41, level, smooth, home, apartment. It has to be flat. It works for, some people say I live in a flat. And then 42, those markings are from the page before. We just have edge, face, team, group. It seems like side works the best over here, because you can be on someone's side, or you can have a side of a triangle. 43, we're taking the last letter off. So take off T, we get car. 44, Swam, saw, we have to invert these first ones, 1 to 2 to 3. It's going to be tar, 1 to 2 to 3. Question number 45, we have spills, lips, wolf. We're going to go backwards this way. That's going to be loop, which is B. Question number 46, we're going to have anything tying. Mango, we go back then forwards. We're going to go back then forwards. It's going to be dress. Question number 48, we have actuate, cute, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to have 1, 2, 3. We can get rage. 48 will be D. Question 49, goalkeeper, endeavour, struggle, try, match and punch. Endeavour and try, when you look them up, are actual synonyms. You can do maybe, you might think goalkeeper and match because match is, you have a goalkeeper in a match. However, they're not exactly synonyms. But endeavour and try are pretty much synonyms. We have really close words here. Lash doesn't really go with the other ones, and puzzle doesn't really go with the other ones either. However, defect most closely means fault. If there's a defect with your product, that means there's a fault with your product. It's not working the way it should be. Therefore, it has to be B and Z. Question 51, we have hue and shade. For example, you're painting something, you need a specific hue of pink or a specific hue of shade. Those work the best. 52, we have supple and flexible. While a gymnast can be flexible, they're not really closest in meaning to each other. Supple and flexible means you can move something around a lot, or if a person is very flexible or they are supple, they can move a lot. 53, we have vivacious, benign. Benign doesn't really suit any of these. Fickle means unloyal. So we have dependable, which is a synonym for trustworthy. It should be A and Z. 54, we have dispatch and send. Like for an army, you send troops or you dispatch troops somewhere. 55, you have to underline the words to make one correctly spelt word. So 55, we're going to get thinnest. Question 56, we're going to get, and then this one, it's pronounced dies, but with this, it's going to be comma D's. It's going to give you CY. And then 57, we get buttercup, type of flower, AY. 58, you get B, avoidable. It's a good suffix to add to the word. 59, we also get backfire. If something backfires, it goes wrong, your plan backfires, and then you can see that. Question number 60, we have triplet. If you're a triplet, you are one of 3. Here is a series. We have 61, we have H to K, which is going to be +3. K to I is going to be -2. I to L is going to be +3. So -2. And then +3 to J is going to be 1, 2, 3 is M. So you can cross these out. Then we have M to O, which is going to be +2. O to L is going to be -3 to +2, -3, +2, -3. +2, K +2 is going to be M. 61 is A. 62, C to F will be +3. Then we have F to I is +3. I to L +3. Each time we're adding 3, O plus 3 is going to be R. I'm going to cross these out. And then C to E will be +2. E to D will be -2. To F will be, D to F will be +2. F to E. So we go to C to E to back 1, add 2. Back 1, add 2 will be G. 62 is D. And then 63, M to Q will be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. To the y's, 1, 2, 3, 4, add 4 each time, so c plus 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, g. Over here. Then we have b to x minus 1, 2, 3, 4. I assume x to t, 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to minus 4 every time. L minus 4 is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, h. D to 63 would be c. 64, p to o is going to be minus 1. To m is minus 2. To j is minus 3. To f is minus 4. And then we're going to minus 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5a at the beginning. Then we have w to r. W, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, H. B, E. I'm not hungry, but I'm getting those stomach aches. Like when you're, not stomach ache, just like, you know when you get burp because you're empty as.
You haven't got no food in your
Yeah, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. 65, I've just rewritten the alphabet over here. J to I is going to be minus 1. To F, it's going to be 1, 2, 3. To J, it's going to be, J to I, minus 1, minus 0. And then back to J, plus 1, plus 2. Oh, so we have J to I is going to be minus 1. I to I is going to be 0. Then we have 1, 2, and then we have 3. L plus 3 is going to be 1, 2, 3. It's going to be O. Then we have E to I. 1, 2, 3, 4. I to F. 1, 2, 3. Back 3. F to J is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. To G it's going to be 1, 2, 3. Up forward 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 65 is going to be C. 66, we have A to A's plus 0 plus 1 plus 0 plus 1, which is going to be C. Then we have Z to Y is going to be minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, which is CV, which is going to be C. Then we have 67, we have question 67, we have to draw a little table. I'm going to draw place, salmon, place, halibut, cod, salmon and tuna, cod, salmon, tuna. That way I can start writing down their names. We have Sally, who likes place. Oh, that should be an S. She also likes halibut. Let's put her here. Sally, cod and salmon. Sally and Sally. Maurice never eats salmon, only likes place and halibut. So this is Maurice. Maurice. Oh, he should be over here. S and M. We have John, Mary, and Michael enjoy tuna. John, Mary, and Michael enjoy tuna. And then Mary and John never eat cod or salmon. So which ones are true? 3 of them never eat salmon. That can be true. Mary, Michael, and Maurice, 3 of them can never eat salmon. Cod is the least popular. It could be. We don't know. Some people prefer things but don't ever not eat it. Mary eats halibut. Yes, she does. Well, she could, because it says Mary enjoys tuna. It doesn't say anything about her opinions on halibut. And then Maurice and John both like tuna. We both know this is not true, because Maurice only likes this halibut. John likes tuna, and then Maurice does not share his opinion. So it would be D. 68. We have form captain. Okay, 68, we don't know anything about whether they were friends or not, so we're going to go ahead and cross that one out. Let's write our table over here. M, Andy, David, and Lindsay is equal to, and then we also have Petra. So we know Andy and David both got 5. Molly got 5 more than Andy. Lindsay got 4 fewer. She got 6. And then Petra got the same as David, which is 5. So we know she did not receive 11. David got 6 fewer votes than Molly. That's not true. We know 34 in the class. We don't know how many children in the class. And then Lindsay received 6 votes. This one's true. Question 69. Each letter used corresponds to a digit number. Let's try and find it. We have 4 here. 6 second twice. It could be R. Has to be R because we have it twice. So 6 is R. So we know it's R first, which is all of them we can cross out. If we can cross all of them out, that means we can cross these out and we just get grade as our answer. Question 70. In how many ways can the letters 5 be placed in a line with I always first, E always last? So let's do I always first, E always last. We can have F and V, and then we can just switch them around, and that will be just 2 ways. Question number 71. We can put math, which T is always first, never last. So we could have AMH, TAHM. We can also have THAM, and then TMAH, which means we get 4 ways of saying that. 72, we have to descending number of syllables. I'm going to highlight the amount of syllables we have. We have direct, that's 2. We have the same number of syllables, rarely, twist. So pathways, rarely, and twist. So we have to do them in the same order. Descending means largest, so direct, pathways, largely, rarely, twist. It is in the same order, so it's going to be A.
NVR analogy is the first section. So question 1, this shape is to this shape. So we have to look at what is changing from this shape to this shape, and then you apply that change to find the answer. The best way to do this is look at one change at a time so you don't get confused. Let's look at what this is. So the first one is a diagonal line that is going towards the left, and what it's going to change to is it's going to be reflected down the center, so it's going the right side. So this one is obviously going to be pointing to the top right as well rather than the top left, so it can't be A or D. The only other thing that changes here is the numbers 12 get doubled to the numbers 24, and what that would be, so 16 would get doubled to 32, and the answer would be 32 here rather than C. So and if we're just looking at this box is basically just calling shape 1, shape 2, shape 3, so this isn't actually part of the shape here. Okay, question 2. This shape is to this shape, so what we can see first of all is that the black circle is turning grey on this, so what I'm going to assume for this one is this grey circle is going to turn black rather than staying the same colour. So we can cancel out D and A here. What's also happening here is this is rotating, so you can see this thing is this way, now it's that way, right? So what's happening is it's actually rotating this way around first of all 90 degrees and then 180 degrees. So you can see it's all the way, first of all it's not mirrored, right? If it was mirrored, oh right, actually it is mirrored. Yeah, so it can't be rotating because this would always be you wouldn't get this shape. What you can see is actually it's reflected across this line, and what's happened here is it's turned into that shape that sort of looks like that. So just to explain that, the top shape is mirrored across this horizontal line to make this shape. So this shape number 3 is obviously going to get mirrored, and if you mirror something, right, just from your techniques, you should know that you start from the point closest to the mirror line and you go to this line, So this is where this line is going to be. And if you keep drawing it out as it's mirroring, right, this is the type of shape that you get. And if you look at which one looks like that from B and C, B is obviously the wrong way around. It's actually the same shape, so it's obviously going to be C. Question 3, this one is quite simple. It looks like the outside oval is rotated 90 degrees, right? So you can see this, and that means the arrow is also going to be rotated 90 degrees, meaning it's going to either point downwards or upwards. Out of the options, there's only one that point downwards, and these two are still not rotated, so it can't be D or E. And what else happens is the shape in the middle turns upside down again, or it's reflected across the horizontal line. You can imagine it's reflected. And it's also turned grey, from white to grey. So first of all, let's look at which options actually have turned this triangle from white to grey. A is already immediately cancelled out. And both of these are upside down, but this triangle is the wrong triangle, right? It's an isosceles rather than, sorry, it's a right angle triangle rather than an isosceles triangle, which leaves you with the answer of C. 4. What is changing from here to here? Well, initially what you might see is that this grey circle is turning into a white circle, and what students might think is, oh, okay, this top circle must turn white, and then they might choose E. But first of all, you can see that it can't be that, because the plus hasn't stayed the same. It's actually turned into a circle, right? So we have to be a bit more careful here. And also, for example, if you look at the bottom one, this makes no sense. You haven't really got an explanation for that. So don't jump the gun and go for E, but actually look at it closely. So what's happening from here, to me it looks more like a transition from the top left to the bottom right. These look like the same shape, right? And what's actually changing here is it's going from black, so the grey is turning into black, and the inner circle is turning white. So if we can apply that to this, well, what would it look like? The outside would be black and the plus sign would be white. And now there are actually two options here which we can look at, which might work for that. We have to have a complete rule, so we need a reason for this as well before we actually choose anything. So let's see if this square turns, if we go here, the only difference is a square at the bottom is changing into a circle. So this one would change from a square into a circle on the top, and it would obviously retain the same white background, and that actually does lead with E being the answer. But this time you've got a good explanation for it. Basically what's happening is this one is turning into this, and then this one is turning into this, and that leaves you with E, and an explanation that works well. So while you should take these step by step, you need to have a complete rule. Let's look at question 5 now. What changes from here to here? Well, the first thing that changes is the outside shape that looks a bit like a standing box turns upside down. So what's going to happen with this, it's going to turn upside down. The feet seem to be pointing the same way, right? So these are pointing outwards, and these feet are also going to be pointing the same direction. So if you turn it upside down, we would assume it would either be pointing like a reflection, because we have no real reason to know whether this is a reflection or a rotation, because it'd look the same either way. So it'd either be B or E, because the rest of them have got feet that are just different. And what else changes? Well, the inner circle, it rotates 90 degrees rather than 180. So let's look at this diamond. It's going to rotate 90, and it's going to be flat like this, like this, and it can't be E for that reason, because it stayed the same direction, meaning it is B. And the actual rotation here was a reflection, because you can see the feet are reflected like this, rather than, you can't rotate it anyway like that. Question 6. The heart is flipped upside down and then turned into a dashed sort of image, right? So we can assume the star is going to be flipped upside down and then turned into a dashed line, right? So these ones are not flipped. D is flipped, but it's not turned upside down, so this one will have to be C. but let's keep going just to double check. It looks like the same thing happens to, you basically duplicate the heart and you flip it upside down and then you turn it grey, and same thing with the star here, so E is the answer here. Question 7, so what's happening here is it looks like the center line is going to be turned vertical rather than horizontal, and it's going to be turned into a dashed line. So this center line is going to be turned vertical, and because it's already dashed, I'm going to assume it's going to turn into a straight line. So I'm immediately thinking maybe it's not B and C, but let's not get ahead of ourselves here. If we look at what else happens here, the center shape stays the same. The black shape swaps with the bottom left, so the top right swaps with the bottom left. Maybe the top left and the bottom right swap, but we can't tell because they're both grey. So let's first of all swap the top right shape here with the bottom left shape here. So that means the bottom left must be having a box like this, and the top right must have a box like this, right, pointing left to right. The only option here that has that is E, because it's got a line like this and a line like this. Let's see what else happens. It looks like this one is also swapped with this, and that all matches, so the answer here is E. Let's look at question 8. This is rotated 90 degrees here, and nothing else has changed. The entire shape just seems to be rotated 90 degrees. If you look at, first of all, obviously the boxes are now vertical, right? There's a line vertically, but also the square is rotated like this. So instead of being like this, if you imagine, you can even turn your head to the left, and then you can see what it looks like and see that it matches this shape. Now if we do the same thing here, bottom right and the bottom right here, they have to match, and C is the only answer there. That is the same. So this is just testing the rotation skills here. If you're confused here, try and turn the paper 90 degrees, and then you can sort of get that image in your head, then rotate it back and see which option looks like that. But the best thing is if you're able to imagine it, then it helps you with speed here. Yeah, just imagine rotating it like that. Okay, question 9. The circle and the square. Okay, well, what's happening here is the left circle, all of these shapes stay the same, but they just seem to be changing colors, right? So the third from the left is turning grey. Every white shape turns black, every black shape turns grey, and the most right grey shape turns white. Okay, so let's look if we can apply that. The white shape should be turning black, so we need a black square. Which ones don't have a black square? These ones don't have a black square. Also, this whole shape is rotated 90 degrees to the right, so clockwise. So this one must be rotated 90 degrees clockwise, so you're left with E and A anyway. Also, the shapes have to be in the same order, so it has to be circle, square, circle, square, circle, square, circle, square. Okay, that matches, so it's either A or E here. The white shape has turned to black, the grey shape should be turning to white, so that's, these two are linked, these two are linked, and the black circle should be turning grey, right? So the black circle is right here and it should be turning grey, and this grey circle should be staying grey. So you can see A matches that. The only reason it's not E is because this square right here should be black, because if you look at this square right here, it's actually white and it needs to change to black. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, question 10. Now the AND symbol looks like it's pointing to the bottom right, right? You can see it's swapped here. Let's move the triangle to the bottom right. That gives us with T immediately, but we can't say that for sure. Let's just double check. What else changes? The square here goes from middle right to top left, so this heart should go from middle right to top left. That matches. This one should go from top right to bottom left. This one should go from top right to bottom left, so that matches. And this tick, top left to bottom right, top left to bottom right. There you go. So you can see it's D, and you can actually get that quite quickly, especially if you're running out of time here. On a question like this, obviously you won't be running out of time on question 10, but if you're running out of time quickly and you just spot that this is moved down here and you're going to move this down here, you can do a very good and very quick educated guess and get D as the right answer here. Question 11, what is changing here? Well, this is pointing upwards first and then it's pointing downwards, so that's just basically a reflection across the horizontal line, so this one's also going to be reflected upwards. So it can't be any of these two. And what you're left with is either it looks like the black shape, the black triangle turns grey. So this black triangle should turn grey, so it can't be A. And what else changes? Well, if you reflect it, right, this is reflected. You can see this right side should have stayed grey, right? This is the same side, but it's turned black. So this grey side should turn black, which means it's this side, right? That should be black, not the left side. So the answer here is D. Now, question 12. The black triangle goes to the center, right? It turns small and it gets put into the center. So for this one, let's actually carry on. So black triangle goes to center, white striped circle comes to the outside, it becomes the biggest shape on the outside. And let's go ahead and see what that means. So I'm going to assume the smallest shape in the center, which is the square, is going to come to the outside and become the biggest shape. So I'm immediately pointing towards B because that's the only one with a big square. What else was happening? It looks like the second large shape, or the second to the middle shape, is going to the center. Nothing's changing about it. So that means this circle should be going to the center. You can see that matches. And what else happens? Well, this square, the outside shape, becomes the second outside shape, right? So this triangle should become the second outside shape, which is B. So that matches. The answer here is B for question 12. Question 13. Now we're on to NVR codes. Question 13. So let's look at the codes. What's going to happen here is the first letter is going to mean something, right? It's going to link to a certain condition, and the second letter is also going to link to a certain condition. So let's look at S and S. What's the similarity between this shape and this shape? Well, they both have vertical straight lines, which means that S is likely to mean that the shape will have vertical straight lines, so that's probably what it is linked to, right? T would therefore mean that the shape would be a white shape. So the test shape isn't a white shape, it's actually one with straight lines. You can see this sort of straight line pattern in there, so I'm going to cancel out any of them that have T at the start. And now we need to figure out, what does the second letter actually represent? Well, the X here is, because none of these match, right? So X, Y, Z. So there is no similarity, right? So this second letter has to represent something that is different in all of these shapes. What's different? Well, it's actually the shape itself. So you can see this is a square, this is a diamond, and this is some sort of arrow shape. The test shape is actually the same as the bottom shape, right? And we can assume that Z would therefore mean that it is a diamond. So what this means, SZ is basically code for a striped diamond. Hopefully that makes sense. Question 14. we see again a duplicate value here, x and x. That means there is some similarity between these two. Well, immediately I see that both of them have a curved sort of shield look. So I think the x will mean that the top is curved, whereas the y will mean the top is flat. The test shape has a flat top, so it's not going to be any of these. What are we left with is either is the second shape. So the second shape here you can see is J and J. What's the similarity between these two? Well, it's the size. So both of these are much bigger, and K is a smaller one. This is test shape is small, so we can assume it means YK. What YK represents here is a flat top, shield looking shape. So I'd call it a shield with a flat top that is small rather than big. So that's what YK means. YJ would mean a bigger shape. It would mean like one of those, and you can actually see that is the case there. Question 15. The circle. Okay, let's look at what's similar. P and P, both of these match. What's similar between these two? Both of these are circles. So that means Q will likely mean that is a hexagon. So the test shape is a hexagon. So we're going to cancel out any of them that aren't hexagons, that aren't Qs. Sorry. Now, what does the first shape also have? Well, these two are both M's. What is similar between these two? Well, they don't have a circle in between them, right? So M probably means that there's no circle. L means that there will be a circle. The test shape has a circle, so the test shape should be L, which means it has a circle, and Q, right? Because it means it's a hexagon. That leaves us with D. LQ represents a hexagon with a dot in the middle, whereas for example if we had LP, that would be a hexagon without, sorry, MQ, right? If we had MQ, that would be a hexagon without a circle in the middle. Question 16. Again, look for duplicates. This is the fastest way to do this. Both of these have H's. What's similar between these two? Well, they have this diagonal striped line. So H probably represents having a diagonal striped line in the big half, whereas G probably represents having a blank one. This is blank in the test shape, so we're going to assume that the test shape will have a G. Let's cancel out any of them that don't start with a G. Now what are we left with? Well, we've got to do this and this. So 1, 2. Well, these two are all different. So the second letter on all of these codes are different. So we need to find something that's different in all of these. For me, it looks like it's the rotation of the shape. So you can see the section where it's split in half, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, are always in different positions. So M is the one that represents where it's on the bottom, right? And the test shape has it on the bottom, so the test shape should have the code GM. So that leaves us with the answer A. Question 17. You can see this is actually part of it. Black triangle. Okay. We've got two duplicates here, so M and M. We've also got K and K. Okay, so what's similar between shape 1 and shape 2? Both of the arrows are pointing different ways, whereas in K and K, both the arrows are pointing the same way, right? Well, what does the test shape do? The test shape is pointing the same way, left and left. So that means it must start with a K. So let's cancel out all of these. We've got K, K, K. Okay, what does the second letter represent? We've got a duplicate here, A and A. A represents a black and a white, so you can see that both the arrows are different colors, right? Both the one is black, one is white. It looks like D would probably represent two blacks, and C would represent two whites. So the test shape is two blacks, which means it must be D. So that leaves us with K, D, which is the answer, which is B. Question 18. Okay, so what does the G mean? Because we've got G's on both of these. To me it looks like the only similarity here is that the circle is on the left side, meaning that this one, the test shape, should also be G. H, seems to mean that the circle will either be on the top or the bottom, or I think a better description for this is basically the vertical, or whether the arrow is going vertical, right, like these ones, or if they're going horizontal. And same idea here, the test shape is vertical, so it should start with a G. So you can cancel these out. The second letter, I see a duplicate on R. The circle is white on both of these, so white circle probably means R, or R means white circle. T would therefore mean grey circle, and S would mean black circle. So T is the next letter, and that actually leaves us with the option C. If we just finish that off, X, right, is X seems to mean a single-sided arrow, and Y seems to mean a double-sided arrow, which is why it's X, because that's what this is. Question 19. Let's look for some similarities. I see F and F. So what's the similarity between these two? These shapes are white, so E would mean black and H would mean grey. This is black, so it has to end with an E. What else is there? There's R and R. What's the similarity between these two? Well, they are vertical instead of horizontal, so these shapes are on top of each other rather than next to each other. So P means that they are going to be horizontal, meaning this must have a P, which leaves you with option E. If we finish this off again, all of these first letters are different, which means it's something that is different between all of these shapes. All the shapes have a different inner shape, right? And that means that basically, oh right, okay, so pentagon means B, and this one is a pentagon, so it has to be B. Question 20. Let's look at, so B and B. What's similar between these two? Well, they both have a triangle in the center. C would therefore mean a circle in the center. This has a triangle in the center, so it has to end with B. So let's cancel out all of these. What does that leave us with? M and M are the same on these two. They both have grey circles, so therefore N would probably mean black circle and M means grey circle. This one has a black circle, so it must have an N. Okay, sorry, both of these have N's, so we can't rule anything out yet. X, Y, Z, so these are all different. So what's different in all of these shapes? Well, it's the number of circles. So this has 5, this has 6, 7, and this has 4. This also has 4, so I'm going to assume it's going to be the same as this, which means it has to start with a Y, right, because Y means 4 here. Question 21. These both have P's, so the pentagon is pointing upwards, right, means it's P, whereas Q would mean pointing downwards, so this one is going to have to start with a Q. We can cancel out these options. A and A over here is probably referring to the size, so A is a big pentagon, whereas B would mean a smaller pentagon. So this is a small pentagon, so it has to have B, which leaves us with the answer option A here. If we finish that off, Y, X, Z, these are basically the different shapes that are in the center, and this one has a circle in the center, meaning it has to be Y. So Q, B, Y there. If we keep going, question 22. What's similar? Well, we've got B and B here. What's similar between these two? They both have a big square, right? A square. Whereas C and C mean they have a triangle, right? So this one has a square, so it must start with B, which leaves us with A or D. And if we keep going, what else is similar here? P and P. What's similar between these two? I think, well, let's see, this is R and R. Okay, so I can see the similarity here is a dashed line in the middle, whereas this has a straight line. This is a dashed line, so it must have R, right? So that rules out A, and that leaves us with D. If we finish that off, G and G, these two match, right? I think that is referring to the circle. So G means it will have a circle, and H means it will have a pentagon. Which is, no, that's probably not what it means. Let's have a look. So H and H on these two, what's the similarity between these two? The black shape, so this, okay, so H is black and white, whereas G means the colors are the same, right? And this one has different colors, so black and white, which is why it's H here, so D. Okay, question 23. T and T, so these are matching, right? What's similar in these is they're both only split into 2 sections, whereas V would therefore mean it has to be split into 4. So test shape is split into 4, so it must be one of these, A, C, or E. W, X, Z, these are all different. What's different between all of these? Well, it's the color that it's shaded in. So W would mean black, X would mean white, Z would mean grey. So W means black, means it must be VW. V means split into 4 sections, W means shaded black. Okay, 24. Straight plus H, and H here is the size of the diamond. That's the similarity that I see. So G would mean a small diamond, meaning test shape should start with a G. So let's cancel out any of these. The rest of these are different, and the thing that is different between all of these shapes is the middle shape, right? So it's a straight line, flat line, or plus. Flat line is represented by L, so this one should be an L. So that leaves us with GL. Question 25. Now we're on to NVR rotation. Okay, so now we have to rotate this by 180 degrees, I believe. Or is it 90 degrees? We'll see. I think actually what it's asking you to do is just pick any of these that are a rotation. And I'm assuming not all of them are rotations, some of them are actually reflections or just the wrong shape. So A has a hexagon here rather than a pentagon, so we can cancel that one out. B has the pentagon pointing the wrong way. You can see the point has to be this way, right? So it can't be B. D has the pentagon in the wrong place. It must be around here. And that leaves us with C for question 25. Question 26 here. Well, A has 2 of these bumps, right? So it can't be A. You can see if you try and rotate this, you'll never get the shape of B, because what's happening here is B is actually a reflection, right? The bump has to be on the left side of the actual point, right, of the triangle. So C here is matches, whereas D again is the same as B, where it's actually a reflection. So imagine reflecting this, right? You would have it like this. The bump would be here. And then if you rotate that, you can get this one or you can get this one, but you cannot get C, right? So that is the answer to question 26. Question 27, A has a square rather than a diamond in the center. This has a pentagon, so we can cancel that one. What else have we got? We're left with either C or B. C has this oval shape in the center, whereas it's supposed to be a bit further up to the top. So that leaves us with answer option B. Question 28. Okay, so this arrow has to be coming through, right? It has to be straight on one of these lines. So you can see it can't be A, sorry, it can't be A, because it's pointing outwards rather than from one of the lines. So this is alright. The rest of these are alright. What else have we got that can allow us to decide whether it's a rotation? I can see that the arrow, so if you look right here, this section is grey, right underneath the arrow. Whereas this section is black, so it can't be C. And if you keep rotating, right, you can see this arrow. You can never get this from a rotation. It's actually pointing anti-clockwise, whereas this arrow is pointing clockwise. So if you try and basically B is a reflection of it, and D is the correct answer here. Okay, which one of the figures in the box is on the right is most similar to the ones on the left? So this is NVR similar shapes. Okay, so for these ones we have to come up with a rule that basically explains what the similarity is between 1 and 2, and then we can apply it and figure out which answer is the most similar. So let's keep looking at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 12 sides on this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so that's 15, maybe plus the shape here, plus 4, which is 19. And 12 plus 3, it leaves you with 15. Maybe it's meant to always add up to an odd number. Well, let's see what these ones sort of come out with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Plus 6 is 18. Plus 5 is 18 plus 5. 23. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 16 plus 5 is 21. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 plus 6. 14. 8 plus 4 is 12. Sorry, plus 19, and this one is 12 plus 17. That's sort of what all the numbers seem to add up to here. Question 29, so we're on NVR sequences now. What we can do here is, first of all, it goes from 1 to 2, and we can assume it's going to go to 3, right? It will go to 3, so there's going to be something that is changing from here to here. Immediately what I'm thinking is count up the numbers, right? So there are 8 sides on this star, and there is 1, 2, 3, 4 on this thing, which leaves us with 12, and if you add that to the number on the ball, that's 15. And if you look at this star, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 5 on the pentagon, so that's 15, and add the 4, that leaves us with 19 here. And what you can see is happening here, it's going from 15 to 19, which is plus 4, so it's going to add 4 again, so the total here has to come up to 4. This one adds up to 23, this one adds up to 21, this one adds up to 19, and this one adds up to 17. Which is why we end up with the answer being A. So, question 30. Well, looks like what's happening here. First of all, it goes from arrows, 2 arrows pointing up, pointing to the right. Question 29. So NVR similar shapes. Which of the figures on the right is most similar to the ones on the left? Okay, what's similar between the ones on the left? Well, it looks like they're both a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're both 6-sided shapes, and they both have a line sort of underneath it or next to it, right? So let's look for a 6-sided shape on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is a 6-sided. These is also 6-sided. This line is inside, so it can't be E. I'm going to go with C here because it's got the line on a straight edge, right? Rather than D, which has it on this inwards, right? C makes the most sense here. The line is here. Question 30. Okay, what's similar between shape 1 and shape 2? Well, they've got 2 shapes that are vertical and 1 shape that is horizontal. So that all matches. The smallest vertical shape is always on the top layer, so it can't be B, because if you look at this one, it's on the back, right? Can't be D either. The biggest vertical shape is always at the back, and the lowest layer is, everything else is above it, right? So this one, C, big vertical shape, is not actually at the back, so it can't be C. That leaves us with A. Question 31. We've got 3 circles and 3 triangles here. There's always one shape which has got a different pattern. So let's look at all of the options. That seems to be matching. There's also the orientation. So there's always 2 smaller shapes on the right which are on top of each other. So that can't be A. The one with the different pattern always has to be on the bottom right, so that leaves us with B, whereas C and D don't have a different pattern on the bottom right. Their different pattern is actually on the top right, if you can see that. Question 32. Okay, what's the similarity between these two? Well, let's look at this. To me, it looks like this shape, right? It actually fits into here. If you rotate it, it'll fit into the circle. And this shape also, it'll fit into this one to make a full rectangle. So I think that's the similarity, or that's the rule. Basically, the extra shape has to fill in and make a full shape. So this one will probably go into here and make a full sort of curved square. Also, this triangle would fit in here and make a full triangle. These ones work as well. They seem to make a circle, whereas this one actually doesn't seem to even make a circle because the distance here is too small. So it definitely can't be A. We're left with 3 options that all make a shape. But if you look at the options here, right, both of these are curved shapes. So you can see they've got curves, they've got no actual corners, right? The circle as well, no corners here, right? Whereas a triangle is not a curved shape, so it's straight line, so we don't think that it's that. This one actually looks the most similar to those two on the left. This one isn't actually filled in black either. B, so we're left with C being the best option here. Question 33. What's similar between the group on the left? Well, all of them are hexagons with a circle that is inside. The circle has striped lines. Okay, we can cancel out immediately C and D and E because they are not hexagons with a striped circle in the middle. A is also, it has its circle on the outside or on the edge, so it has to be B there. 3 lines right in each of these shapes, so we can cancel out A and D because they have more than 3 lines. What else can we see here? We can see that they have to have 2 extra shapes, right? And C only has 1 extra shape. And finally we're left with B and E. What we can see here is one shape has to be at the end of a line and the other shape has to be on the middle of the line, or on the line sort of, rather than at the end of it. So you can see this and this, this and this, same idea. Whereas on E, they're at the end of the line on both of them, so it can't be E, and that leaves us with B. So again, with these ones, you need something that is similar between 1, 2 and 3, and then you apply that rule to the options. If there is something that is different, for example, some people might look at this and say there is this one and this one are connected, whereas the last one is not connected, and then you might think, oh, it can't be B because it's not fully connected, right? But that isn't a similarity between all 3 because you just said that the last one isn't connected, so that can't be the rule. So if you didn't think that, then you're probably fine anyway. The answer is B because of the fact that these shapes are next to one is on the line and one is at the end of the line. Question 35. We've got angles here, so this is a 90-degree 90-degree and an acute angle here. Similarity here is probably the fact that they're all acute rather than obtuse or reflex. So I'm going to cancel out all of the ones that are obtuse. So this one is too big. This one is just over 90 degrees, so same idea here. All of the angles here are below 90 degrees. And this one is small enough, this one is small enough, this one is small enough. Okay, what else is similar? Well, all of these have the same color. When they have two arrows, they're both the same color, right? So it can't be D because they've got two different colors, right? And it can't be A because of that same reason. And that leaves us with C. Question 36. Okay, what's similar? They all have one black shape. So we can cross out B, we can cross out D. What else is similar? They all have one shape that is repeated. So you can see two squares, two circles, two hexagons. This has got three repeated shapes. That's too much. C is okay, E is okay. Now, the repeated shape always has to have one black and one white. On C, the repeated shape are both white, so it can't be C, and that leaves you with E. Okay, question 37. Triangle. They both all... Okay, it looks like they all have these sort of lines at the edge of it, right? Which are on the edge of the big shape. They also seem to have a big shape with a shape in the middle, a smaller shape in the middle, and a shape that is on it, on the line again. So it can't be B because you can see that the line, the shape isn't actually on it. There's a gap here. That seems all right. Let's look at the lines. 1, 2, 3. So I think this matches with the amount of sides of a triangle. There's 4 lines here and there's 4 sides on the rectangle. There's 4 lines here and there's 4 sides on this rectangle. So the lines on the outside basically have to match up with the amount of sides on the shape that is on the outside. So this is 4 lines and this is a 3-sided shape, so it can't be A. 4 lines and a 4-sided shape, that's okay. This is 4 lines and a... Actually, this has 2 shapes on the outside, so it definitely can't be D. This is 4 lines and a 4-sided shape on the outside, that's okay. So you got E and C left over. What else is similar in this group? They always seem to have one shape which has got a different pattern. So you can see this is white and white and this is striped. This is white and then black and striped. This is white and then black, right? So that doesn't let us rule anything out. Let's see, what else could it be? It looks like the lines, right, they are always on a vertice, like a corner, right, or the edge of the oval, but that seems to match on both E and C, so that doesn't let us cross anything out either. I'm wondering what else is similar with these. Let's count up the sides. So there's 4 and 3, 5 and 4, which is 9. This is 7. And that doesn't have a side, and that's 4. Okay. 4 and 4. This is quite a difficult one. Okay, after looking at it for a while, it looks like the reason it's not E. Now, I don't know if this is going to show up very well on the printer, so I'll try and make it clearer. But E both have the same pattern here, right? Whereas all of these options, they've got different patterns on the inside and the outside shape, which leaves us with the answer being C. Question 38. So it looks like all of these have an X or a plus at the corner of the shape. So it can't be A, not C. The X is too big on D, and E has the X on a straight line. So that leaves us with B as the answer. Question 39. What we've got here is a circle in the middle of all of these, sorry. And the circle is always at the top layer, right? It's always in front of every other shape. So it can't be A, can't be C, can't be E. We're left with either D or B. Now what else is similar in all of these? Well, all of these have 4 different shapes, 3 different shapes behind the circle. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And B only has 2 shapes, so it must be D in that matter. Obviously the actual position of the circle doesn't seem to matter. You can see sometimes it's not in the center. The only thing that seems to matter in these 3 shapes is that the circle is at the top, and then there's 3 different shapes that are behind it, each of them being behind each other. That seems to match perfectly. Yep, great. Okay, so question 40. This looks a bit complicated. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gaps in this shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gaps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gaps. So I'm assuming that is the rule here. Really what you're looking again is looking for anything that is similar, that any sort of rule that you can apply. And what I'm seeing is, first of all, the staircase sort of thing that you've got here on all of them, and then also the gaps that they've got. So I'm going to look at the options and see if any of them have 7 gaps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 6. Okay, so C only has 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so it can be any of these. They also all seem to have this staircase thing that I was pointing to. Let's count how many of them they're meant to be. So 1, 2, 3. They're meant to be 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So 3 points on the staircase. 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Okay, so all of these seem to match. There's got to be something else that we can look at that will let us narrow it down between the 2 options. They've all got this shape coming out of it, right? Oh right, okay, I can actually see if I look at it even closer, all of them are actually the same shape but just rotated. So yeah, so if you look at it like that, they're all the same shape that rotated. And what have we got left? We've got B. Okay, so B is very, very clearly not that shape. If you try and rotate it, you can see, like, imagine this as sort of like a lizard. I can see it if I draw an eye in. You see that's his hand, that's his like tail, and that's his head. If you look at B, he's got a bit of a pot belly here, which is not matching. Question and number E, he hasn't got a big, like he's got a big hole in his back, right? He's got a big hole down here, so it can't be E. And that leaves us with A, which is actually the same shape as the rest of these ones. Question 41, NVR reflection. Okay, we're just gonna reflect it across this mirror. Again, when you're reflecting, you start from the point closest to the mirror. So like this point, obviously it's going to be the same. But also let's look at the triangle. The triangle is going to be this way. And then you can see it goes like this. That means it's going to go the other way. And then this one is going to go like that. You can see the triangle has to be pointing downwards like that. So it can't be A, can't be C, can't be D. That leaves us with B. Same idea, if you do the same thing to the other triangle, you'll get the same triangle here. Question 42, let's reflect this one across the mirror, sorry. What you're left with here is, this is the wrong way, this is also the wrong way. This is a different shape. If you look at the point, right, there has to be a point here, so this one's also going to have a point when you're reflecting it. This one is flat, it's like a flat-nosed fish, so this one's going to be 8D. Question 43. Again, this is just wrong. So obviously this big shape is going to be the closest to the mirror, right? Any of these that don't have that, C and also D, it can't be that. So you very quickly can find the answer to be B. You can see this shape is also different, right? So question 44. Again, the black circle is going to be right next to the mirror, obviously with this sort of line here. So any of these with a black circle in a different position, like B or C, which is in the middle, can't be that. Now, which way should the triangle be facing, right? So this is going to be, if you reflect it, start with the point closest to the mirror. So it's going to be this way. And then you can see it goes like this. That means it's going to go the opposite direction. And if you follow my arrow again, it goes down, down. And if it goes left to right, left to right. So this is how the arrow, that triangle is going to look. That leaves us with A. This is the wrong way. Question 45. Okay, which way is this circle going to be facing? Same idea. If you start from the point closest to the mirror, let's do the curve. It's going to be like that. The straight line is going to be this way, obviously the opposite way. And this is what the arrow is going to look like. Same idea with this one. It's going to be the opposite way, right? So if we start from the point closest to the mirror, it's this one, and then we follow it out, it's going to be like this. So this is what it's going to look like. There's only one option that matches that, and you can immediately get the answer, which is C. Question 46, NVR series now. Okay, there's a circle and a square, and then the next option is just rotated 90 degrees, and the circle is turned white. What's going to happen next is probably going to rotate 90 degrees again. So it's going to look something like this. Right, and then you can see it's rotated again on this one because the square is now on the top, and then it rotates again. So we know it's going to be a shape that's like this, right? We know the line is also going to be on the top if we rotate it. So we can cancel out B, D, and E. Now we have to figure out what color is it going to be. So you can see it goes, circle goes from black to white, and then from this one, the square goes black to white. So what's going to be in the middle? Probably one of them going to turn black because you can see the difference here. So which one is going to turn black first? We don't even have to figure it out actually, because the only option left is A, which has them both being black, and that's obviously not the case. Only one of them is going to turn black, so it's going to be C. Question 47. Okay. Now, what's changing from box 1 to box 2? The black thick line on the outside is going to the inside, and then going back to the outside, and going to go back into the inside, and then back to the outside, right? So, which option has it in the inside? A, D, and E have it on the inside. What else is changing? Well, the triangle is pointing first up, then it's being rotated down to the corner, corner. So I'm assuming it's going to go up, and then corner, and then right corner again. So which one has it pointing up? Or A, only D. So the answer here is D. Question 48. So this is another one where it looks like it's rotating. If you look at these ones, they're all rotating 45 degrees. So this one is probably going to be rotating 45 degrees and pointing to the top right. That lets us cancel out all of these apart from B and D. What else is changing? Well, it looks like the circle, right? The circles are switching colors every time they move through the box. So this side, this box is going to have a white in the middle and black on the outside. Okay, both of those match that. The circle is also moving up the sort of diamond shape that we've got here, or the arrow shape. It's moving towards the top. So here it should be moving further towards the top, which is B. D has it way too far up, which is like it's even further up than the third box, right? So it can't be D here. Answer here is B. Question 49. Straight line, straight line. So it looks like this is first rotating 90 degrees all the way. So this one's going to be pointing upwards. So let's cancel out any of them that are pointing down. It's also changing shape, right? You can see this arrow first has a flat, and then it has a tail, and a flat, and then a tail. And if we go again, this one should be flat, so we can cancel out D. And the color of the ball is going black, white, grey, black, should be white next, so that leaves us with answer option C. Question 50. Pentagon and a circle. Okay, this one goes pointing up, then pointing down, pointing up, pointing down, so this one's going to be pointing up, so we can cancel out C and E. The circle is also moving from the top to the right, and then to the, it's moving slowly but slowly clockwise basically, right? So where is the next one going to be? Probably somewhere around here, right? So let's look at which ones match that. So I think D, yeah, D matches that. B is all the way down in the bottom left, and A isn't even on a corner. So you can see circle is always on a corner, right? So probably a better way to explain it, right? So what I looked at was up and down. If you actually just look at it, it looks like it's just rotating 45 degrees. Not even 45, yeah, 45 degrees. So this one should be pointing downwards. Oh, right, okay, that's a better, that's, yeah, okay, so it looks like it should be pointing downwards, right? So the circle should actually be on the bottom. I cancelled out C, but that is incorrect. D is the one that is incorrect, and C is the correct one. So again, sorry for messing that up. Yeah, you can see the actual sequence here. It isn't the rectangle pointing up and down. It's actually the rectangle, pentagon. The whole thing is just rotating with the ball inside of it as well. And if you follow that rotation, right, let's go first straight, then 90 degrees here, sorry, 45, 90, and then continuing on, and then this one should be 180, which means it should be pointing downwards, which is option C here. Okay, question 51. We've got grey stripes. Okay, so these ones are flipping from here to here. And what's happening on the next one is it's rotating. You can see the whole shape has just rotated 90 degrees from here. The grey one has gone to the bottom, to the middle right. The black one's moved up, right? And then it flips again, right? So it's just the middle ones that are flipping. And then the next one is obviously going to be a rotation. So it goes flip, rotate, flip, rotate, right? So what's going to rotate here? The whole shape. That means the striped is going to be here. The grey one is going to be on the top. The black is going to be on the bottom. And that actually leaves us with B. So grey, striped, black, white. That is the answer here. Question 52. What is the series here? Well, it's going top left, bottom, middle, top, 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 bottom, middle. Okay, so it looks like this shape is just moving along a conveyor belt, right? If you can see, it's basically moved to this side, and then what's probably going to happen here is this one moves to the left. Yep, and then you can see this shape is moving next, right? So if you imagine it's just a conveyor belt, and what's going to happen next is this shape is going to get moved to that corner. Which one has this shape on the left side? Well, only E and A. And let's see which one out of E and A actually has the correct order, right? So after this, it should be this shape on the right of it, whereas this one's got the wrong shape here, so it should be A. Okay, question 53. Triangle pointing downwards and a circle, and then the triangle is rotated 90 degrees, then again, and then again. Okay, so this one's going to be pointing downwards, so let's cancel out all of these options. Now, the color is also changing. It goes white, black, grey, white, black. So it's going to be black. Okay, we know that. The shape of the circle is also getting thinner. So it goes big, then thinner, and then big again. and then it'll be a oval here rather than a full circle, so it should be B. Okay, question 54. We've got 3 lines on this one, 4 lines, 3 lines, and then it's going to be 4 lines here, and then 3 lines. So let's look for which options have 4 lines. We've got A, D, and E. What's going on with these circles here? Well, they've got... It's basically just reducing by 1 each time, it looks like. So the top one gets vanished onto this option, and then the white one vanishes as well. So this one's going to vanish. It should be black circle and white circle. Black circle, white circle. So that leaves us with option E as the answer. Okay, question 55. Black, 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 black. Okay, so you can see it's sort of like a jumping pattern, right? Or you can just say it's going from circle to hexagon to circle to hexagon. This one's going to be a circle, so let's cancel out the options. What else is happening? Well, again, I think it's easier to look at it as a jumping pattern. So this one, it's left and right, and then these ones sort of get rotated, it looks like. So it rotates, the circle rotates 90 degrees. So if you rotate it again, it should actually go back to this shape. And that leaves me with a D. Hopefully that makes sense. And if we carry on here, right, let's say for example there was another box here. This one would be here. So this is rotated. The circles are rotating, not the actual circle. Sorry, the black circles are rotating, not the actual big shape. So if you move these, it's first going here. This one is probably going to go like this, right? So that's what this shape would look like if we had another option there. But I don't want to confuse you with that. Yeah, these ones are just rotating. Okay, question 56. Okay, so this is a circle, 1 circle, 2 circles, 3 circles, 2 circles, and then it's probably going to go back to 1 circle here. So let's cancel out option A. What's happening with this shape? Well, it's reflecting to the right side, then reflecting back, and then reflecting to the right side, then reflecting back. So it's definitely going to be on the left side this time, because on the right side just a second ago. So this one we can cancel out. This one we can cancel out. Now what's happening with the actual circles? The circle, first it's on the top, and then when you see it goes to 3. Now this one is the one that's leaving, so you can see this one. Now this circle is going to vanish, so the circle actually should be on the bottom rather than the top. That leaves us with C over D. Also, if you look at the actual shape, right, the reflection, the line should be going this way rather than this way, so it can't be D for that reason as well. Okay, question 57. It looks like this shaded area is moving onto here, and then the next one is probably going to move to here, and then because you can see it moves there and then there, so it's just moving one to the right, this shaded triangle. So obviously it's this section that's going to be shaded in, which is this, right? So this shade, top left triangle, triangle 1 is going to stay in the same position. That leaves us with option A as the answer. Question 58, NVR matrices. Alright, so this is an upwards arrow. This is a... Okay, so with these ones, right, there's a few different patterns that can happen. With a 4-sided matrix, it's probably going to be something like this. So this turns into this, and this turns into something else, right? Something like that. Or it could be downwards, right? But there's a few different patterns with matrices that you need to know, and for this one it's going to be this way. Okay, so what's happening? The arrows are turning into coming outside of the square, and it's duplicating, right? The square is getting smaller and going into the bottom right corner. So that's definitely not D, because the circle here should be getting smaller and going to the bottom right corner. The shape inside is getting duplicated, and then the second shape should be reflected so it should be like pointing the other way. So it can't be B because they're both the same, pointing the same way, right? You can also see that the arrow takes on the pattern that is on the shape behind it. So this one should turn grey, so it can't be A, and that leaves you with answer option C, which has matched all of the options, right? Again, it's a bit like an analogy question, because what's actually happening is this is turning into that and this is turning into that, and that's pretty much the same with all matrices questions. Question 59. So this is an 8 and it turns into a 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so it looks like the shape goes up in one number, and then the number on the ball also goes up in one number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's going to turn into a 6-sided shape, so it can't be D, because it doesn't have a shape behind it. And then this should go from 6 to 7, which leaves you with B. Right, again, it's an analogy type thing, where you can see it's going from this to this and this to this. Question 60. Okay, so this is turning from this shape, it's getting reflected, it's turning smaller, and it's getting duplicated. So you can see it gets reflected, smaller, duplicated. So let's reflect this first. It's going to be like this way, right? And we can see A is pointing the wrong way, C is pointing the wrong way, D has only got one. That very clearly just gives you the answer, which is B, and it also has a square on it, but yeah. Okay, question 61. This is a hexagon matrix. So this is the same idea. It's going to be some sort of pattern across the matrix, and it's going to be like an analogy question. So work out which of these 6 hexagons on the right best fits in place on the hexagon grid. Okay, let's look at what patterns we see. We see that this is opposite, they look the same. These two opposite, they're the exact same. So what's going to be down here? Probably a reflection of the question mark, the same way there's a reflection of the exclamation mark here. So that gives you answer option D, because this is not a reflection, and the rest of them aren't even question marks. Okay, question 62. Matrix C here. What's happening from here to here, and what's going to happen from there to there? Well, this circle is rotating 90 degrees to clockwise, so this is going to rotate 90 degrees clockwise, which means it's going to be pointing down to the bottom right. There's only one option that does that, so you can immediately know that it's C. But if we carry on, the line is also rotating 45 degrees anti-clockwise, so this one should be 45 degrees anti-clockwise, which leaves that, and that obviously is also C. Okay, question 63. Now, again, so this is, rather than a 4-sided matrix, it's a 6-sided matrix. It's going to have, again, like a sort of line identity, right? So there are a few ways that you can have things going on here. One is it might snake like this, right? So the analogy is from here to here, then here to here, and then here to here, etc. Or it could go just like straight across. It could also go down diagonally, right? And your job is first to figure out what direction is the matrix going. So what I'm seeing here is from here to here, it's rotating 90 degrees anti-clockwise, and then again 90 degrees anti-clockwise. So it looks like it's a bit like this, right? But what I'm seeing here is this one is rotated 180 degrees clockwise, right? So this rule is not the same as this rule. So that makes me think it's not that way, but instead it's downwards. Actually, that doesn't seem to be the case either, because this one has the same issue. Okay, so what I figured out just now is it looks like each line, right? If you look at the horizontal lines, So this line, this line, this line, they all have the same shape. So they've got one at the top, one at the bottom, and then one on the right. So what's missing here? It's one that is on the top with these circles. So that is answer option A. Hopefully that makes sense. And again, the pattern here is going left to right, but it's not really even a pattern. It's more just a rule that goes from left to right. So each horizontal line has got one of these three, right? And it's probably the same for the verticals. Okay, let's look at question 64. Circle, square. It looks like the square is coming to the outside. So I'm assuming the circle might come to the outside. No, actually, this doesn't seem to match, right? There doesn't seem to be any sort of analogy here. And if you look at the options also, it doesn't seem to work. So what's probably happening here is it's going from here to here, or like that, right? This makes much more sense because you can see the circle comes to the outside and the square goes to the inside. So the triangle is going to be on the outside, the square is going to come to the inside. Now what's this shading going to be like here? It looks like the shading rotates 90 degrees. So first of all, the shape inside has to be white, so it can't be A. Second of all, it has to be the same shading, it has to have grey and black, so it can't be B. Now again, like I said, the shading, it looks like it's rotated, so you can see it, first of all, it's top and bottom, and then it's left and right. So this one is left and right. I'm going to assume it's going to be top and bottom. There's no real way to know whether it should be top and bottom, but we can cancel out E because that's also left and right. And D has the wrong shape in the middle, so that leaves us with answer option C there. Hopefully that makes sense. If you need to rewatch that section, you can. Okay, Q65. This is definitely going this way. You can see these are just reflections, so this is going to be reflected this way. Again, if we reflect from the closest point, we get something like this. And none of the options seem to match that, so let's go back to the drawing board here. Okay, so instead of thinking of a reflection, let's think that this is rotating. So if we see this is a 90-degree rotation, let's try and rotate this one 90 degrees. So this one's obviously going to be pointing downwards. That leaves us with answer option B for question 65. Okay, question 66. Now you can see this is one of those where it's got a diagonal pattern, right? So you can see these are all the same. These are the same, so this is going to be the same, which means it's going to be answer option A for question 66. Question 67. It looks a bit more like something like this, because they have the same shape. So you can see the triangle is rotated 180 degrees. So this top shape, this trapezium, is going to be rotated 180 degrees. So let's cancel out any of them that aren't. Now what else is happening? The square is going inside the triangle, so this triangle is going to go inside the trapezium. Okay, both of these options have that. The circle is going to the bottom, so this circle should be at the bottom of the shape, and it should get larger rather than getting smaller. And you can see on C it doesn't get larger, so answer A is the correct one for this. Okay, so what else have we got here? I can see a pattern already. It looks like it's going downwards. All of these have one arrow. These will have two arrows. These will all have three arrows. So which one has three arrows? Question option C. And that's pretty much all there is to it. You can ignore the shape in the top right. I don't think there's any reason to look at it. Yeah, I think it's just a distraction. So I think the main thing here is you see that these are all 2 and these are all 1. This is going to all be 3. Question 69. Okay. This is the same, but it's just a reflection downwards, so this one's just going to be reflected. Again, the reflection is across this vertice, so the left side vertical reflection. So if we do the same thing here, it should be something like this for the bracket. The shape would start like this and then go like that. This is how the square should look, and the arrows should all be pointing that way. Now, which option matches that? These all match it. They've all got something different about it though, I think. B doesn't. The curly bracket's on the wrong side. Now, D, this arrow is too big if you look at it, right? So it has to be E for this option. Question 69. So question 70 here. This one's a very difficult one, but it's actually very simple. So if you look at all of these, what we can see is if we cut this down the middle, now we've got something that is very clear, and you can see the circle is always on the right side of the central line, which is why A is odd here. It is 2 of the same shapes on each of these, but the middle shape, or the shape on top, is white, and it's also rotated around 90 degrees. Or rotated it to some extent, right? And D is obviously the odd one out here because it's a different shape on top, whereas all of the rest of them have the same shape. So hopefully you've got that answer. Question 72 and 73, these ones are the most difficult questions, I think. So this is an odd one out again. Now, what do we come to here? So option A here has got 2 wholly black ones. So does option B. Option C has 3 wholly black ones. D has 2, and E has 2. So that wasn't actually that hard. C would be the odd one out here because it's got 3 fully black shapes here, whereas the rest of them only have 2. And yeah, question 73. Option A. Immediately what I'm thinking is it doesn't have this sort of circle shape, but I want to be careful here, because this has 2. Option here, E, has 2, right? So we can't really say that they're odd for having 0, because this is actually quite odd for having 2. So let's look at black, diamonds. All of these have this square sort of layout. So these have 2, these have 2, these have 2. Yeah, okay, I see it now. So with these squares, right, they're always pointing the same direction. Whereas this one, they're pointing different directions. So that leaves us with option B being odd. You can circle it here, probably in the answer sheet. And that's it. So you can see every other shape here was actually a distractor. A lot of people would instantly go and say that this circle has to be present in all of them. And that's why A is odd, but that's just not true, because A has 0 of these, and this has 2, and this is 1, 1, 1. So actually both of these would be odd, and that isn't a good enough rule. So yeah, that is the NVL section of Newstead Mock 2.